Hello again, AI learners. This is Mike Hayes with Mike's AI. 2-minute briefing notes about AI podcast listening episodes to storytelling explainers. My AI co-hosts bring their voices of reason, offering calm in today's chaos to help us all navigate the rising tide of the waves of AI. So in about 2 minutes, they'll explain today's debate. Then you decide, is it reasonable for you to stay tuned for more AI podcast listening for learners? So let the great discovery debate begin.
If you're running a business today, you're not just thinking about AI, you're probably surrounded by it. The real question isn't if you should be using it, it's how. And that's where it gets tricky. Because right now, the entire AI conversation seems to be split between two very different ideas: chasing the immediate hype versus building for long-term reason.
So it all boils down to this one huge question for your strategy. Are you going for the quick, flashy wins that create a ton of buzz right now, or are you playing the long game, building a foundation of lasting wisdom, a business that's truly ready for the massive changes AI is bringing our way?
Let's think about this like a matchup between two teams. In one corner, you've got Team Media, the storyteller. They're all about creating incredible content, like yesterday. And in the other corner, we have Team Reasonability, the strategist, who's more concerned with whether your core business idea even makes sense anymore. All right, first up, let's hear the case for Team Media. This approach is all about using AI to get immediate, tangible results through content. You know, it's the stuff you can see, feel, and get in front of your customers today.
And this quote from our source material just nails it. It's about the stuff that drives immediate revenue and buzz. I mean, for any business owner, that is an incredibly tempting promise, right? This is the low-hanging fruit of the AI revolution, and it's right there for the taking.
So how does this actually work? Well, by using AI to generate your media. You can move super fast to grab market share, you can slash your production costs, and you can seriously speed up your product launches. It also lets you create super tailored content that explains what you do way more clearly, forging a much deeper connection with your customers, faster than ever. And here's the real game changer. AI is the ultimate equalizer. All of a sudden, a tiny team can pump out high-quality, story-driven content that, not too long ago, you'd need a massive company budget for. That is a huge competitive edge. Okay, but all that immediate buzz, it comes with a big risk. And that brings us to the other side of this debate, Team Reasonability. Their argument is pretty simple. Before you go off and create all this fancy media, you have to use AI to stress test the very foundation of your business first.
Welcome to the debate. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of the most pressing strategic decisions that small business owners are facing: where to focus their, limited energy and budget in this overwhelming current of AI. The core tension isn't theoretical at all. It's an urgent operational choice between getting market traction now versus ensuring long-term survival.
It really is. It's a zero-sum allocation problem for these small teams. Do you invest in the visible, the fast outputs of AI, all the market-facing content that drives immediate engagement? Or do you prioritize the often unseen, foundational work that's necessary to ensure your entire project is structurally sound for this new AI economy?
And that frames our central question perfectly. For a small business owner today, which AI output product demands the primary focus? Is it the fast, revenue-generating power of what we're calling the AI media revolution, that's Team Media? Or is it the foundational assessment of whether a project has the viability to survive, which we're calling Team Reasonability? I'll be arguing that, for the small business, practical necessity just dictates the primacy of Team Media. The focus has to be on rapid ROI and market disruption.
And I will present the case that prioritizing media output without first establishing that foundational reasonability is it's a profound error in strategic risk management. I believe we have to define and secure the viability of the offering before we accelerate its exposure to the market.
I see why you emphasize caution, I do. But let me give you the perspective from the ground, from the business owner who is staring down a really competitive market. The immediate path to cash flow, to market relevance, lies squarely in leveraging the AI media revolution. I'm talking about the ability to generate slick, personalized marketing content, localized videos, and these highly effective narrative explainers at a fraction of the cost and time. This is the stuff that generates immediate revenue and, just as important, essential market buzz. I mean, generative AI lets small teams achieve the output capacity of much larger creative agencies. Just think about the need for product understanding. We can now create storytelling narrative explainer content that is customized to specific audience segments almost instantly.
This capability allows small ventures to scale their creative output dramatically, which cuts costs and speeds up essential business cycles like product launches and, crucially, iterative price testing. If you can't articulate your offer clearly and quickly, the foundational viability of your project is frankly irrelevant because no one ever gets far enough to even evaluate it.
That is a compelling case for efficiency and speed to market, certainly. However, I have to push back on the idea that this speed should be the primary focus. Investing heavily in generative media without rigorously confirming your core value proposition, your reasonability, it's like building a state-of-the-art engine for a car with square wheels. The acceleration just hastens the breakdown. You see, success in the AI era is fundamentally contingent on whether the core offering and its structure are perceived as valuable and, well, reasonable in the face of massive AI-driven commoditization. And that is what we mean by reasonability. We have to confirm that the audience won't just immediately dismiss the product as something an AI tool could deliver cheaper or faster or even for free. So, this foundational focus includes verifying if the offer itself is presented in a context that the audience can quickly digest and trust, especially with this rising tide of sophisticated but ultimately disposable AI content. And most critically, we must scrutinize the pricing model. Has the pricing been stress-tested specifically against the new baseline expectations of the AI economy? Without that foundational check, your powerful media assets only accelerate the failure of an unviable idea by putting it in front of more people who immediately see its structural flaw.
I think you're defining the cost of entry incorrectly here. For a small business, the immediate tangible ROI from team media is just undeniable. The cost savings we're talking about, reducing reliance on extensive creative teams, are not theoretical. They are secured today. And what's more, the efficiency gained from speeding up product launches and price testing lets us secure market share right now. This rapid deployment isn't just about buzz, it's about acquiring data. We need those market feedback loops to refine the very reasonability you're championing. Time to market is the immediate ROI.
Okay, but let's look at the sustainability of that ROI. If your focus is purely on rapid media generation and speed, how can you ensure the audience will believe the explainer content? The sophistication of the content, that highly polished narrative, it becomes suspect when the underlying value proposition is shaky. We are already seeing a consumer shift where slickness equals skepticism. Spending your budget on rapid media deployment that lacks that fundamental reasonability is just bad risk management. The cost savings on creation are immediately negated by a failure to convert. If the core promise, the value comparison, is off, or if the pricing feels exorbitant compared to the AI tools available to the customer, you've simply amplified a flawed message. I would argue that rigorous viability testing early on saves much more money in the long run than any immediate media production cost reduction.
I understand the emphasis on belief, but you're creating a false binary between attention and trust. In an environment that is just defined by information overload, attention is the scarcest resource. If the audience cannot quickly understand and digest the offer, they will never advance to the stage where they evaluate its inherent reasonability or start to question its sincerity. So media has to come first because it's the gatekeeper. Let's consider the specific competitive edge gained by generative media. It's not just about volume, it's about hyper-personalization. We can tailor the content so precisely, the tone, the narrative, the visual style, that the product understanding you achieve is faster and deeper than ever before. This rapid, customized delivery is a massive competitive edge. It can't wait for months of reasonability testing. We have to secure the audience's mindshare first.
That's an interesting point on hyper-personalization, but let's interrogate what that really means in the AI age. When every single one of your competitors can generate flawless, tailored content, when that slick facade becomes completely commoditized, where does the true competitive edge reside? It shifts immediately back to the product's underlying value proposition. If the product itself is only marginally better than a public-facing AI solution, the most sophisticated deepfake-level explainer video will fail, because the discerning customer is now hyper-aware of the cost of creation. We're seeing diminishing returns on content quality. Therefore, true competitive advantage must stem from ensuring the product's fundamental value is inherently sound, unique, and offered in a reasonable way that resists AI substitution.
I have to reiterate that the time spent on foundational reasonability testing, as you call it, is often time the small business just cannot afford to spend when market share is this fleeting. And how do you even quantify this reasonability check? Are you suggesting small businesses should delay their launch until they've completed some kind of academic study on consumer perception of AI-adjusted pricing?
That's a fair challenge on implementation. But reasonability testing isn't academic. It's essential strategic rigor. It means clearly defining the non-replicable elements of your product. For example, the pricing must be tested specifically to ensure the perceived value, that value comparison, makes the product irresistible compared to both traditional competitors and free or cheap AI alternatives. This involves rapid, targeted surveys and value matrix modeling focused on the shift that AI has created. If you launch a product that charges for a service that a sophisticated large language model can perform for cents, your media budget is irrelevant. We are looking for fundamental failure modes that AI introduces, like automated substitution or a complete erosion of trust because there's no transparency. Addressing those is the core function of reasonability, and it has to precede a mass media spend.
Your focus on pricing and substitutability is important, but it presupposes that the audience is engaged enough to even perform that detailed value analysis. The reality is that the decision to engage, to spend the cognitive energy to assess a value comparison, is driven by the initial media blitz, the initial explanation, the storytelling, the compelling visualization generated so rapidly by AI. That is what pulls the customer out of the scroll and into your world. So if we wait for the perfect reasonability assessment, we lose the window of opportunity to gain critical market traction and the necessary data. Success for a small business is tied to revenue-generating power and buzz. AI media is the tool for achieving that, immediate disruption. It is the cheapest and fastest way to get statistically significant feedback on your product's appeal.
I define success differently than just immediate revenue and buzz. True success, survival and scalability in the next 3 to 5 years, is tied to having a product that is inherently AI-ready and, just as important, AI-resistant. To be AI-ready means your value comparison is unassailable. It means ensuring that your offer structure is robust enough to withstand future shifts. The media revolution, while fast, is highly susceptible to replication. If your project is fundamentally unviable, the media blitz simply acts as an accelerant. It makes your failure larger, faster, and more public. We aren't arguing for delaying the launch indefinitely. We are arguing for prioritizing the foundational sprint of ensuring viability over the cosmetic sprint of media deployment.
But the idea of a cosmetic sprint really minimizes the operational necessity. The AI media revolution isn't just a coat of paint. It is the fundamental infrastructure for modern audience acquisition. It's the ability to A/B test 10 different visual identities in the time it used to take to design one. That speed, that iterative, data-rich environment is essential for refining the offer in real time, which ultimately feeds back into your reasonability metrics. The reasonability check is constant, but the ability to generate the data to inform it comes from the media engine.
Data acquisition is key, I agree. But the data you acquire from a media blitz on a fundamentally flawed product is meaningless data. It tells you your ad copy is compelling, but it won't tell you why your conversion rate is 0 when the customer realizes your price point is unreasonable for the value delivered in this AI context. You need to ensure the variable being tested, the core product viability, is sound before you introduce the confounding variable of massive, rapid media amplification.
I believe the risk of inaction is far greater than the risk of exposure. Small businesses cannot afford to miss the market disruption window.
We secure the beachhead first, we drive immediate revenue, we establish a brand presence, and we secure necessary cost savings through AI content generation. And then we consolidate the reasonability based on the market feedback we immediately collect. That's just practical necessity guiding strategy.
And I will reiterate that the value of that immediate revenue and buzz is entirely contingent upon the underlying project having been rigorously assessed for its reasonability. Without that deep certainty that the offer is viable and reasonable, especially on the fundamental question of audience belief and pricing integrity in an AI-saturated ecosystem, media expenditure becomes an unsustainable and strategically flawed use of limited resources. The longevity of the enterprise demands foundational scrutiny first.
This decision, whether to prioritize speed and visibility through generative media or that foundational viability testing, is really the critical strategic choice defining success for small businesses in this new economic reality.
Indeed, and both rapid efficiency gained through leveraging the power of generative media and the foundational scrutiny demanded by reasonability are vital aspects of adapting to AI. We hope our listeners consider carefully where that balance of focus and budget should ultimately lie for their specific enterprise as they continue to navigate these complex strategic concerns.
So what exactly is this AI reasonability thing? Just think of it like a strategic health check for your business. It's the process of asking the hard questions, like, in a world where AI can do so much, is my fundamental business model still going to work? Is what I'm offering still compelling? This is all about long-term survival, not just a short-term popularity contest.
And this is the core question that Team Reasonability forces you to look at head-on. It's not about all the cool stuff you can do with AI. It's about whether your business has the fundamental reasonability to even exist, let alone succeed, in this brand new world.
You can actually run this test on your own business right now. Just look at what you're doing through these 5 lenses. 1, is your offer genuinely reasonable for someone to buy? 2, is the way you deliver it easy for customers to digest? 3, is the value you provide truly irresistible? 4, is the story you're telling, your explainer, actually believable? And 5, this one's critical, is your pricing model built and tested for the new AI economy?
So you've got the fast-moving storyteller on one side and the deep-thinking strategist on the other. But here's the twist. The real goal isn't to pick a winner. The smartest companies realize it's not a question of either or, it's a question of when.
This is where it gets super practical. Let's say your goal is rapid growth. Well, you're going to lean on media to grab that market share right now. But if you're trying to build something sustainable, you better focus on reasonability first. Launching a new product? Yeah, you'll need media to explain it, but only after you've used reasonability to make sure the idea is solid. The real danger is ignoring one for the other. A flashy media campaign for a weak business is just burning cash. And a bulletproof business model that nobody knows about is just a great secret.
So here's the bottom line. A winning AI strategy has to be a blend of both. You need the offense of team media to bring in revenue and get attention today, but you absolutely need the defense of team reasonability to make sure your business is actually built to last in a world that is changing faster than ever before. One without the other is a massive blind spot.
So where does all this leave you? We've talked through the theory, but now it's about what really matters, your next move. It's time to decide where your focus needs to be, right here, right now.
And I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. As you navigate the rising tide of AI, just ask yourself this. Are you building a speedboat, something designed for pure speed and immediate wins? Or are you building an ark, something designed to withstand the storm and guarantee long-term survival? The right answer, for pretty much everyone, is figuring out how to do a little bit of both.